Give me my countdown, sir. Check, check. Wow, wow. This is BMore4Real, and I am Uncle Wayne, and I am so glad you are going to join us. We have a special guest tonight. Welcome,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Be
co-host.
more for real. Brought to you by way of Real Explosions. How you guys doing? And we got a very special Saturday with you guys. Be more for real
Special
special.
guest,
Special
special day.
guest, Miss Tori Rose,
Thank you, thank
running
you,
for the
thank
seventh
you.
district. How are you feeling? How are you feeling?
I feel even better now. So thank you both for having me here, and thanks for everyone who's tuning in. I appreciate you all.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Ma'am. Come
Yes,
on.
ma'am.
But we gonna call you ma'am, but I just don't call you ma'am, right?
Y'all giving me the Mother Teresa treatment. I like that,
Mother's
but
Day tomorrow.
it
Come on.
is, it is. And shout out to all the mothers and all the
Yes,
women
definitely
who
a shout out
are
to the
aunties and
mothers.
TTs who still stepped in when mom couldn't do what mom needed to do. So thank you to everybody out there that's celebrating Mother's Day. A special shout out to those who may be grieving the loss of their mothers or
Absolutely.
mother figures. We want to give you, our love and embraces this weekend as well.
Absolutely, absolutely, man. Happy Mother's Day to the mothers. We already have brother Bobby B. He said, "Hey, brother Bobby B is in the house. Hey, Miss Rose and OMG and Uncle Wayne. How are you?
Uncle
How are you guys? We appreciate you guys
Wayne.
for joining. If this is your first time joining, definitely hit that subscribe button. We on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook at the same time under the same handle. Be more for real. Brought to you by way of Real Explosion. We just gonna have a conversation with you. You know, this is not really an interview. This is just really a conversation. We really want to get the people to know the real Tory Rose, what you stand for, and what you about. You want to tell the people a little bit about yourself?
Well, it's not really a conversation with no food. Where's the food? To get to know me is get to feed me. But hey, Bobby.
Absolutely.
Bobby is a neighbor of mine as well. I live in Hanlon, so shout out to Hanlon. Um, so a little bit about me. Born and raised in West Baltimore, raised on the other side of North Avenue, right? The part that people often forget. So the part that all of us are from. The part that they say you're not going to make it, and if you do make it, you know, Woodlawn is the best you could do, right? They say move out into Baltimore County, that means you've arrived. But we know that our communities are so rich. Those of us that are really from here don't want to leave it, not because we're poor, but because we see the beauty in the community. So born and
not
raised in
not to
West
cut you
Baltimore.
off, I want you to finish, but when they say seven districts, because a lot of times from Baltimore
Mhm.
and us being uneducated,
Yeah.
what does the seventh district covers in Baltimore?
That's a good question. And I don't think it's because we're uneducated. I think there's a system that leaves us out. So there's no reason that you only know what district you're in once every 4 years during the election cycle. Nobody is driving through your neighborhood saying, hey, this is seventh district, this is the sixth district, because they're hoping people aren't paying attention, right? So that's first
Absolutely.
and foremost. And so the seventh district starts at Hilton and North Avenue. It goes all the way down. It used to stop right before you got to Bolton Hill. So if you're on North and like Linden, but now we have parts of Bolton Hill. And remind me to come back to that because that was I'm going to say maneuver from our current council person because he wanted to diversify the voting base, meaning he didn't want to stretch into Sandtown, Winchester. He wanted to stretch into Bolton Hill. If you
Repeat that
understand.
again.
Right. So when certain people are looking to obtain power and leave us out, they stretch into diverse communities that don't look like us. Okay. So
Absolutely.
now we go as far down North Avenue as Bolton Hill. We go into Sandtown, Winchester. We cover areas like Matthew Henson, Appleton, Payson, Pulaski, Ruxton, Rupp, Bradish, Dukeland. Then you come across Gwynns Falls, and we go all the way through Hanlon, where I currently live, up to Ashburton, and then we come down. But listen to this: the same person that's representing you at Cumberland and Cary is representing the person at 36 and Falls Road in Hampton.
Oh wow,
Isn't that crazy?
that's interesting.
See?
That is interesting.
Just
That's-
getting
that's interesting.
educated.
Right. So we also, in that latest maneuvering called a redistricting, picked up parts of Charles Village. So all the way where 20th is makes no sense to me. So to ask me to draw it on a map, I can't.
Absolutely, that was actual a wonderful breakdown. Victory House Worship Center also said, "Be more for real." They are in the house. Shout out Victory Worship Center. We appreciate you guys. Appreciate you guys for joining the stream. Also like, share, and subscribe as well. If this is your first time with us. So tell us a little bit about what inspired you to get on this campaign trail that you're on right now.
Yeah. So I'll go back to parts of the introduction. So educated in K-12 education, I went to Calverton, I went to Western, and I'm a proud Western graduate. But also while I was in school, I found myself in a situation, 16 years old, homeless, living in the street.
Oh, wow.
So 16, 17, living in the street. And when people look at me today, they have no idea the backstory. Well, there's hundreds of children that are currently in our educational system that have my same story. That get up every day, go to a gas station or go to a friend's house to take a shower, to freshen up, to go to school and be harassed because they don't have a pencil.
Wow.
They don't have a book bag. People have no idea what our children are every single day going through. And I take it very personally because I went through it. Like I had counselors who would be like, wake up, having no idea I slept on a bus all last night. Right. So we don't know what children are going through in our communities. And we also can't look at what people are clothing on the outer and expect to know them on the inner. We just don't know.
These are facts.
Right. And so when I sat back a few years ago, when all of the Freddie Gray stuff was happening, and, I see my little cousins out in the street, and I'm trying to pull them because I'm the female cousin that made it. I didn't make it because I'm so awesome. I made it because of God's grace, but I also made it because my little cousins, little and old, will be like, nah, you go read the book. Let us take care of da. Right? So we got to understand the people who can do the da, and you stay clean and clear. And I had that. And so now those same little cousins are the ones that's getting jammed up, getting locked up, getting killed. They're no longer here. I can't just sit back and cry about it. And so in 2018, one of my closest little cousins, because we were raised in the same house, we lived on Payson Street, and then he moved from his father's side of the family, which is my uncle, to his mother's side of the family on Cary and Cumberland. But his whole life, Candyman, Booger, Squirrel, Fats, they my cousins. And so if they got in trouble, I showed up like a sister. And so January 12th, 2018, 12 o'clock in the afternoon, I get a phone call from Shock Trauma. And anybody who's ever been in that situation, you get that phone call and time stands still. I'm up in Woodlawn trying to bring horses, equine therapy, to Pennsylvania Avenue.
Oh, wow.
And I get this phone call. You understand?
Yeah.
Because we've been convinced that Black people don't ride horses when we were the original cowboys.
Wow.
We were the original equine therapists. We could touch a horse, touch an animal, and it calmed down. And so our kids, while we know there's lead and asbestos and all of this stuff in our communities, our kids a lot of times just have unchanneled energy. And so I'm working
Absolutely.
to bring this horse program to the city, and I get this phone call. And now I'm racing through the city, and I'm calling everybody. I call Angie Wanda. I call Val Jenkins. I don't even know who to call. I'm calling on Jesus because I'm like, just don't let them be dead when I get there. Just don't let them be dead when I get there. And then someone sends me the Facebook post. And I see on Facebook my cousin take his last breath. Dude's running his pockets on Facebook. So before my aunt and my uncle even got to see their son, I had to go in and talk to the doctor because remember, I'm the cousin that looks like this, right? So doors are open because I speak a certain way. I can stand a certain way. I look a certain way. But in that moment, no education mattered. This was my little brother, bump cousin. Do y'all remember back in the day when you took pictures at school and they said if you have a sibling, your sibling can come to school and take the pictures with you?
With you, yep.
I got pictures of me and Candyman, like brother and
wow.
sister, because I'm 5 years older than him. And so I go in, I see his body, and I'm no more good. And in that moment, I realized I had been calling Leon Pinkett. Remember, Leon was the council
Yeah.
person. I had been calling Leon since Taylor got killed. I had been calling Leon since little Amy got shot. And now my cousin, is this dude going to answer my phone calls? Probably not. And if you're going to ignore me, I'm going to take your job. And so that's where it came from, right? I know there's a part of me that's still, what they say, uncouth. That's always going to be there, right?
That's the mother instinct.
It's the mother instinct, but
It is.
it's also that Saturday morning with your Ajax outside scrubbing the
Yeah.
steps. Like, we are from here.
You know, they say you could take the person out the hood, but you can't take the hood out the
Yeah.
person. And we know what you mean, absolutely. BMore4Real said, "Hello, fam, good stuff.
Oh,
We appreciate all of our streamers and viewers. How y'all doing? This is
Amen.
Miss Tori Rose running for councilwoman, of the 7th district. And now that I mentioned councilwoman, we
were
don't
about
hear
to go
of a
into
lot
that one,
of
right?
We
councilwomen.
don't.
So
We don't.
the fact that I even had to change my verbiage on that means something, that
It
you're
does.
fighting for something. So how do you feel being in the female and the woman role actually on that side of the battle in your campaign?
And I'm going to tie all of these answers together because it's one big, like, real conversation.
Right.
So the running was, yes, it was about safety. It was about accountability with the councilman's office, because if a regular person can't call their council person for months and get a response, then something in the system is broken. I knew I had the skill set to fix that, right? I also looked across the dynamic of the council. There's 14 members. At the time, there were only like 3 women. So when you're in a city that's 60 to 65% women, how can you be so grossly underrepresented at the people who are making the legislative decisions for your life, for my life? And so I said, okay, well, I'm going to run. I'm just going to run. I have a degree in political science. I've worked for the federal government for all of these years. I had done a little bit of educating, but I was not an educator at that moment. I said, I'm going back to the school system, because how can I stand before people and talk about passing laws for something I haven't been in, right? I also had a son, and I only had the one child at the time, who, my son is going to Midtown, and he's fighting through certain levels of discrimination by Black people. And I'm saying, wait a second. We're
Wow.
seeing that in the school system. We're seeing that
Wow.
in the streets, because the city is predominantly Black. And so just because you my skin folk don't make you my kin folk.
Hey man, can we
Right.
get we can
We
get a
need
clap for that,
applause
man.
for that
we
one, right?
do, we
Right.
do. We're not
We
doing that on
usually
this
have
segment
applause,
because
but we have it for
We're gonna
tonight.
that's all right.
But
I
one
can
thing
clap.
we need-
One thing I have learned between running last time, running this time, is to clap for myself. So I'm a snap and clap for myself. But
And
we're
at
gonna
that
pat-
point-
snap and clap for you
and
too.
pat yourself on
and
the
pat
back.
myself on the back and pick
There
myself
we
back
go.
up and shake it off. And so to
Ah.
answer your question though, the women in the city have a right to be angry with women who are running for office though. I gotta call out the elephant in the room. When there's only a few of us, it's like your grandma used to say, don't go in there and embarrass me. Don't go in there and embarrass me now. Get yourself together. And I am not demonizing any woman who has held a political seat. What I am saying is, from the outside looking in, the city does not trust women in politics. And so I had to take that into consideration as well, because I didn't want anybody to say, well, how are you any different? You didn't have this person get in trouble and that person get aired out, and how are you any different? And so what I decided to do then was walk away from it well into my 6-figure income. I said, well, let me show y'all how dedicated I am to this. I'm going to leave my job. So I'm going to walk away from that money, because city council don't make no money. And let me show you that, because I'm an entrepreneur, because I know how I'm a woman that can take $1, make it into 15 cents, that I'm not able to be bribed, bought, purchased, sold, any of those things. And I believe that the community stood with me and said, yo, she'll walk away from the paper. I trust her. Because a lot of times people get in trouble, men and female, because of money issues.
Lots of money.
Yeah, I really wish we had a round of
money.
applause on that one. A lot of people in the city
of that
do
money.
feel as though people's people's integrity are compromised
Right.
because of monetary issues,
Love of
and
that
that's
money.
been an ongoing
Right.
problem in politics as well. We have some people in the community that feel as though politicians and policemen are gang members and a part of other sinister organizations. What is your standpoint on that? On politics, and also the maybe unhinged and uncouthness within politics itself?
Well, I will say this. When we were growing up, we used to always laugh and say, look at such and such. Now he got a little badge. Now he no longer a clown. So y'all have to understand my upbringing. The Lord has delivered me from a lot, but it still stands true that you have these people who didn't have a name before they got the power. They get the power and then they misuse it. And so I respect police officers and firefighters and people who put their lives in danger every single day. But what I don't respect is people who are using that power to become the man when they kind of were a clown before the power. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
So we see that also in politics because politics has no litmus test. What that means is you don't have to have had any specialized experience, no background whatsoever to run for office here. You could literally just roll off the couch, have $50 and say, I'm going to go file. So if you were a nobody, now you find 20 people who are calling your name every day. You know, oh my God, it's Kevin or it's Michael. I don't want to call no real names because this ain't a real example about nobody because I love some Kevins and Michaels, but y'all get what I'm saying, right? People are like, yo, she called me out. No, no, no. This is just names that came to my brain. But now Kevin or Michael is the man. People are calling him councilman before he's even elected. If for some reason he makes it through and he gets elected, this is the most acknowledgement this person may have had in their entire life. And if they don't have character, if they don't have the Lord, if they're not grounded, if they don't have integrity to start with, getting that title is not going to bring forth something they don't have. And so, how I personally feel is I always say, try, test the fruit. What is it? Try the tree by its fruit. Tell the tree by its fruit.
Mm-hmm.
I should be knowing these scriptures, y'all. It's
You
late.
can tell with the tree by the fruit
Yeah,
it
I've been
bears.
trying to tell it the fruit
is
and the
bad.
tree
It
by
is.
the pie that is baked in. That's a new scripture. But no, seriously, like check how people move. If you don't have integrity with your $20 an hour job, you're not going to have integrity with this.
That's it.
You may gatekeep millions of dollars that come through to the city. There's council people who have unresolved issues within their own selves. You got a $5,000, $17,000 water bill. How can you govern when you couldn't take care of your own home?
Absolutely.
And that's where we want people to be more mindful and say, listen, there are some systems that are broken. But there are some times that people are broken, and those are the people we should not put in power.
Absolutely, that sounds wonderful. I mean, we love the bravado, we love the swag, we love the charisma that I think the kids now say Riz. We love the Riz that you bring into the atmosphere now. SSH TV as well. They said, "What's up, BMore4Real? What's up,
Bring
fam?
it on
What's
in.
up, SSH
Bring
TV?
it
We
on
appreciate
in.
y'all, man. We have Tori
Appreciate
Rose
the comments.
running for the
We said it all
councilwoman.
the time.
I got it right this time. Councilwoman of the 7th district. This is very important because
And remember
the
the
change
7th
starts from
district,
with
y'all.
us. It starts from within, and it's starting right here with none other than Tori Rose in District 7. So keep it locked with us. We got you covered.
Thank you.
Now, as we move on, you were saying things about the schools and the taxes and the water bills. Now, there are people in that very same district in District 7 who struggle with the schools and air conditioning, that struggle also with the utility bills and things of that nature. Is there a plan that you might have in place for that?
Yeah, for sure. And so just again to clarify, District 7 is 21217, 21216. It's a little bit of 21215, 21211 in Hampton. There are, in my opinion, gatekeepers. I think that's the right word.
That's the right word.
We'll accept that.
You'll accept that as the right word. Because I bet you if I walked to Lexington Market, I asked 20 people, what would you do to resolve the heat or the air in the schools? Those people could figure it out. Could they? They will have some suggestions at least.
Because it's not that hard.
Because it's not that hard, right? So I believe that issues like air and heat in our schools have become so politicized that the powers that be have not resolved it because it gives them something to stand on. So when we talk about when you're campaigning, and Wayne knows this, you have a platform. So what is your platform? It's the things you're going to do. A platform gives you something to stand on. Well, if I don't get this air and heat thing resolved, I got something to stand on. And it sounds good because I'm going to be the person to come in, right? So common sense solutions say this. Many of the schools, especially in my district, are not in code. They don't have elevators that work. They don't have disability ramps. We have to first do an assessment and identify which schools have what issues, create a priority list, and solve the problem. There's money in the district. There's money in the state. There's money in the city.
Money is
We
there.
know the money is there. because my whole life, especially as the connector, has been to build partnerships. We've also seen in other cities and other counties, right in Baltimore County, they put the kids in a trailer, put in the air and the heat. There's so many common sense solutions. It
Right.
doesn't take a rocket scientist, right? And I think I'm fairly smart. I think I got a little handle on things because I was a teacher at Western High School burning up because we ain't have no air. But it doesn't take that. It takes common sense. If this was your house, how would you get heat or air installed? The first issue would be identify funding. The money has been there for years.
Years.
The schools are closed in the summer. If the babies are not in the school, you start with the schools that don't have children being hosted by after school programs, summer programs, or summer school. And you renovate the school and get it done. And because no one at the city level has been able to tell me why my common sense solution is impractical, I believe it can still get done. The moment someone says, well, Tori, it doesn't work that way, then explain to me how it works. If you can explain to me how it works, I can explain to you where you're bull crapping with my children's future and refusing to get it done.
There we go.
Absolutely.
We need another
That's
applause. for
powerful.
that. You're right.
Yeah, we really do
You're
need some
right.
applause. We're gonna snap
This
it up
is
this
what we
time. We're gonna
talking
snap
about.
it up. But
This is what we're talking about.
yeah.
This is why we bring you here because we know we got to get this out there.
Yeah.
We know you
Yeah.
can make a difference
Most
in
certainly.
in where we live.
Most
You
certainly.
understand?
Most
And brother Bobby B, appreciate you again for joining the stream and keeping it locked with us. He asked a question. He said, "How do you get unregistered voters to vote?"
Yes.
So you normally just meet them where they are. Some of the numbers that I was really proud of in last election.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. He said, "How can you encourage non-voters to vote?"
So you meet them where they are. So last time I was determined, especially in Sandtown, especially in areas like Easterwood, I'm gonna knock on every door I can. Hey, when was the last time you voted? You've never voted? Well, why not? Well, because I don't believe in the system, blah, blah, blah. I said, but you complain though, right? Well, yeah, I mean, I'm a complaint, but you can't complain and not vote. Most people, all you have to do is just have a conversation. The moment you start saying I'm not voting, you have silenced yourself because your complaint is never going to land on somebody who can make a difference. And so reaching people at their doors, and also it's illegal for the candidates to register them to vote. So what I would do,
That's the tough part,
well,
right?
well, no, not really, because it's a lot of work. Like I don't want to have to carry all the papers. I'll be wearing skirts all the time. So let me tell you what I would do.
hard for
I
you to do
text.
it, you know what I mean?
I built a team. I have a voter registration team. I text my team right at the door. Miss Johnson, she lives at 321 Sesame Street. Get on it. And my registration team comes right behind me and registers the person. But then I do some customer service. Hey, Miss Johnson, I heard my registration team came out, registered you to vote. Do you know what day the election is? Yeah, I know. What day is it? It's February 12th. Girl, it is May 14th. Do you mind if I send you a calendar invite?
Good
I put it right on
job.
their calendar.
Good
Because
job,
a
Tori.
lot of
Good
things
job.
are it's just common sense, meeting people where they are. And I don't believe Black people don't want to vote. I believe we've been conditioned not to vote
Not to
because
vote, right.
the one time I took off of work and I went all the way down and I stood in the line and I dealt with a nasty voting judge and I voted, nothing changed. So never going to do it again.
Yep. BMore4Real, he's with us again, man. We appreciate you guys. He said he came late. Can you tell him again where District 7 is and what a council person does?
Yes. So District 7 is 2121716, a little bit of 15 and 21211. So start at Hilton and North Avenue, go down to Hilton and about 83, North and 83. So just go straight down North Avenue. You go into North Avenue on this side, as far down as Poplar Grove and Bloomingdale. You go all the way over to Sandtown, to Lawrence and Gold. Then you come across North Avenue this way, Gwynns Falls and Hilton Elementary, Hanlon, Ashburton. Now we have a little bit of Charles Village. So how you can look up, anybody who's watching, Google Baltimore City District Lookup. Baltimore City District Lookup. And when it comes up, you put your address in. It'll tell you who your council person is. If it says 7th, I want to see you on May 14th from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Come vote for Tori Rose because it's time for change. Also, people have this misconception about council people. The reason that we have some of the people that we have is because it's not really sexy work. Like I know some of us can make it look good, right? But it's not sexy work. 80% of what you're doing is supposedly impacting legislation. And so the reason I talk about having a degree in political science and being a history teacher and all of this is dry, it's boring, but that means I understand legislative procedure. I understand how government works. So you want to make sure you have somebody there who understands how government works. The history part is understanding that Black people have been disenfranchised. So you can't have somebody that's going to flip you over and take $7,000 from this person, $6,000 from BMore, all of this stuff, and say forget the Black people. You need to have somebody that's making legislative decisions
There
that
we go.
help the community.
There we
Then
go.
the other part is street lights, potholes, abandoned buildings, abandos, vacant houses, quality of life issues. And so when you drive right now, we keep saying, "Where's the evidence?" You know, we were on that panel with old boy, and he talking about $60 million, and I did. Where's the evidence? I drive to North in Pennsylvania. It looks worse today than it did 4 years ago.
Wow.
Time for a change.
It's time
for
for a
real.
change.
Yeah, it does seem like things are getting worse,
It's
and it's definitely
progressively
time
getting
for a
worse.
change. It's definitely time for a change.
I agree.
We have somebody else that's commenting now. I think it's Tara Logan. She said, "Great." He or she said, "Great campaigning and encouraging constituents to vote."
Hey,
We appreciate
thank
all
you.
of our comments and viewers and streamers. Make sure y'all go ahead, hit the like, share, subscribe.
Yes.
This show is all about Tori Rose. Be more for
Oh,
real.
thank
Brought to you by way of Real Explosion. You know it's a special Saturday because we have a special guest here.
Aw, thank
It wouldn't be a
you.
special Saturday. It wouldn't be a special guest without
Appreciate
you,
that.
Miss Tori Rose. Is there anything that you want to share with the people that's really important to stress to the people that you want to get out?
It is. So when your candidate does not win, right? So let's say if you had put your $150 on Wayne Baker and you said, dang, Wayne is 1,700 other mayor candidates, you might not win. Don't just turn your back on the process. Like, I blame us all at this point. If Sheila gets in, if Brandon gets in, if, I don't know, Jesus Malones gets in, you better go down there and make yourself known to that person. Do you agree that people vote and then turn away?
That's our biggest thing.
They vote and they turn
away. They got to follow through.
You got to follow through, because the reality is these politicians, and I hope not to ever be a politician. I know that sounds crazy, right? Because I'm about to get elected.
Right.
I want to be an elected official. That means I serve first. I stand on my word. I stand on business. I don't want to be a politician. You think about politicians, you think about dead bodies and shucking and jiving and taking deals. I won't do any of that. But whoever is elected, please hold those people accountable. Email them, go to the hearing, show up, find out, ask the questions, get the phone number, act like this stuff is impacting you too. And let me just say this: you eat salmon out the can? Mm-hmm. Baby, I'm so old school. I love me some salmon out the can. You know, Mondawmin is my local supermarket. So I went to the market the other day to buy a little can of salmon. It was $5. I could go fishing for $5, right? That impacts you. If you notice that your groceries are going up, that impacts you. You notice your BGE is going up. Your water bills are going up. Everybody's getting Virginia plates because you can't afford Maryland State insurance. It impacts you. Stop thinking who gets elected doesn't directly impact you. You go in your kid's school, ain't a Black teacher on the block. I said block like we in jail, you know, because
we get what you mean. We know what you mean.
Because in my mind, I think about school to prison pipeline.
It is
one,
one.
just like prison. So yes, on the
oh
block.
my goodness,
Facts.
Talk that talk.
These are facts.
Talk that talk.
Why is that? Because our communities are not designed to breed, create, and procreate and pipeline teachers right from the community into the schoolhouse. When I went to 98, so Samuel F. Morse, right up the street, and there were at least 5 teachers. One lived on Wilkins, one lived on Monroe. They walked to school. Right. Teachers can't walk to school anymore. They're coming from wherever. Yep. That makes no sense.
And the same is with the police, just like he's about to say.
Firemen, everything from everywhere else.
I want to stick with what you was talking about with the food thing as well. You know, one thing that's very sublime that's a major issue that Baltimore doesn't talk about is the food desert. Baltimore's actually number one or maybe one of the top 3 highest food deserts in America. That's crazy that you mentioned that, and you know how Shoppers is probably the only place in the district and within several zip codes of that area.
They like it like
you can
that
get
now.
Purchase whole and fresh food from.
I've me being running for mayor now, and now do all the history. Shoppers love it like that. That's why they can charge the prices that they charge.
Right.
They know it. And listen, look at their client. They don't have no competition. Yeah. That's why the prices there. And everybody there, they there, complain, but they shop and they love it.
Well, let me give you a little piece too. In order to bring a supermarket to a city or to a community, there's something called demographic data that the the developers, when you're coming into this letter of interest or this MOU with the supermarket, they want to know the median age, the median income. They also want to know the level in which people read and write in that community.
Okay.
And so food should never be politicized. It should never be because I read at a fifth grade level, I don't get the same quality of food as someone
Ridiculous,
who
right?
reads on an eighth grade level. We also have to understand years ago, we played a little game called Monopoly, right? So most people know Monopoly, and shoppers is right to want to monopolize in that specific community, but it's also the presence of supply and demand. And so the reality is, how can I say this? Because I'm trying to be I'm not non-confrontational. I just be trying to do
Yeah,
better with what I
outspoken.
say. No, I'll be just trying to do better because I have this anger issue and I'm working on it.
Hey, listen,
And
we all do,
so,
especially
let's-
come to our people.
Be more
Right,
for
when it comes to
real.
our
We love
people.
that.
So let
We
me
love
say
that.
this. If you've never read The Art of War, go read The Art of War. When you want to take over people's land, you starve them out. And there is a starving out that is happening in my community. My community. My grandmother, she graduated from Douglas in the first integrated class 70 years ago,
Wow.
May 11.
Wow.
70 years ago, 1954. I'm from the fiber of this community. And it makes me so angry because I was in a meeting with our current elected official, our current councilman, and he looked at a group of individuals that don't look like us. And he said to them, when I'm reelected within a year, you'll get a new supermarket. And I set on fire because they haven't even asked for it. You got communities like Matthew A. Henson and the surrounding areas that have been asking for supermarkets since that, what was it, Super Fresh on Lafayette?
Yeah.
20 years it's been gone.
No, nothing.
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 But you can walk in a community where people haven't even asked for it and meet a need.
That's what
You
I'm
a
saying.
demon. And I'm telling
And this
oh,
is where-
child, let me calm myself.
Man.
Baby, I've been to flip
And
this
that's
table over.
and people
Now
don't.
you see why I'm bringing her on here because you see when our brothers put on a suit, no offense, I'm just saying,
None
when they
taken.
put on a suit, walk, talk, and act like them, they want to please them.
That's right.
But yet you elected to please us.
That's right.
And I get confused because
That's right.
you give us nothing.
And
You
give them
still and give them
everything.
everything.
And I'm not racist at all. Like
I need that. Listen,
but I am big on my people, and I'm
Right,
big on
it's like,
equality, and I'm big
listen,
on what's right is right, what's wrong is
it's
wrong, and we gotta call it
wrong.
out.
This is what, and it makes
Gotta
no
call it
sense.
out.
And it is time for us to stand up. That's why, listen, and they say, do something about it. That's what I'm doing something about it. I invite
Thank
Tori
you.
Rose up here.
Right. And we actually love your passion. We love your
Thank you.
tenacity.
What I'm
We love
saying.
that fire.
I'm
And
trying not to get
I mean, we,
beat up later.
I think that's what we kind of need. Maybe,
It's time
maybe
for us
Baltimore
to
and
do-
District 7 need that fire lit under
we
their
do.
butt
This
to
is
make
what
something
we
happen.
do.
You know what I'm saying?
This is how it's time to do so about it. And that's why when they said, well, Uncle Wayne, well, you're saying put a female in place of a male. And remember, I told you I'm going to bring that question back up. Listen, I'm doing the right thing for the village.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
So maybe the next male after she gets up there, and maybe the next male when she goes to the next level, get up there, he can learn from the right one.
Yeah.
So he
Right.
can be the right man.
And
Right.
I'm gonna,
Get what I'm
and
saying?
I love that because we got caught up on sexism, male, female, but in all honesty, we needed succession planning. When Belinda was in office, Belinda started some things that should have continued. When Nick Mosby was in office, he started some things that should have continued. Our district cannot afford that every 4 years when a new chief is in town, we start from scratch. People are dying because the next person comes in and says, oh, I don't want to do what that person did. But there are some things that each administration, except for this current one, and I would give him props if I liked anything that he did. I'm not a hater. If I liked anything that he was doing, I would acknowledge it. But I want to go back to some of the things that Nick started that didn't get finished. Some of the civic education, some of the funding into roads and streets, some of the resources going into mental health in schools. Even Leon's focus on business and development made a lot of sense. It just didn't make sense the way he was doing it.
But you know where my problem come out with them? They're so easy to be bought out.
Yeah, that's
That's what-
true. But if
okay,
a
if
plan,
you
but if
start
their
out
plan
on
was
good
working,
things-
well, just stay with the good thing.
Right.
I agree.
You
I
get
agree.
what I'm saying?
But that's also
because it's a too slow process for them.
right,
But that's where I get upset at.
right.
it may be a slow process, my brother, but you
Hmm.
gotta stick with
But
it.
I love that what you're saying because that's what I'm saying. So the work I did for the federal government, I managed multi-million-dollar contracts. I managed 60, 70,000 uh, people. So the initiatives that I was able to bring forth touched 60 or 70,000 people. That is the equivalent of my community. So we have 40 different communities, about 60,000 residents in the 7th district. I didn't care if I was the person that got the applause when the thing hit the ground. It was my responsibility to make sure it had a clear path to make it.
Right.
That's called succession
Because
planning.
we
Right.
all
Because we
benefit.
all benefit. So
Yes.
we think about, and y'all, I am very super saved sometimes, but you think about like Moses. Moses did all of that work, all of 40 years to get to the edge and not make it to the promised
Still
land
ain't make it.
and didn't make it. But he had to live knowing that, or die knowing that Joshua was going to be the person to bring it to fruition. So it's not about Tory
You know
Rose.
what? It's the Harriet Tubman effect. I tell people
It's
about
the
it all the
Harriet
time.
Tubman
Harriet
effect.
Tubman really never saw freedom, but
We
she
had-
led hundreds to freedom of slavery.
She
She
didn't get
herself
to
never
chill.
saw freedom.
Yeah,
Why
she
we-
didn't get to chill. She did the work so that
Yep.
our
Yes.
generation, so we as black
Yep.
people could be sitting here talking like we're talking.
Yep.
And so what happens though, because these people, ego leads, right? That means that I need to see it happen while I'm
Right.
in office.
I
I'm
want
gonna
the
fight,
credit.
I want the
I
credit.
did it. I
But
did
then
it.
can you also take the credit for what you didn't do?
See what
Right.
I'm saying? Can you take the blame
Accountability.
when it doesn't
That
go right? You
accountability.
understand?
Yes.
Because
That's a
I
big
asked
one.
the question the other day, and you may have heard me say it. How do we have the health department right there in Northern Pennsylvania? And Northern Pennsylvania Avenue looks like a third world country.
Yeah.
And this is not anti any specific
But it's the
person,
truth.
but it's the
It's the
truth.
It's
Should
And
be one of the
so-
healthiest communities.
Right.
Should be the healthiest
Hypothetically
community.
speaking.
But to
Right.
me, that means that you're just putting things there. It's a checkbox. You're
Yep.
not going in as the council person saying, hey, show me your plan for this part of the community. And if he tells me one more time, well, I created a task force. A task force is, again, a checkbox. You got people sitting around a round table hypothetically speaking about what they would do in our communities.
And how come everybody can check off the same box in the same place?
All the time.
Everybody can check off Pennsylvania North Avenue. Everybody seems to have checked that same box
Right,
off.
right.
And it's the same,
And
looking
it's
the
the
same
same
way.
I like what Uncle Wayne says too.
Amazing.
Sometimes, a lot of times, a lot of the politicians, or so to speak, for lack of better words, what they do is they address the symptoms and not necessarily the problem.
That's
It's
right.
kind of like getting a flower, but not by the root. You know what I'm saying? You leave the root there
Right.
for it to grow back.
Right.
So it's always going to come back, that sort of thing. But we got some comments, man. We appreciate all of our comments. Howard G commented. He said, "I'm checking you guys out. Very informative." He said, would love to be a guest, guys. Comedian Howard G. Kiss
Hey, Howard
my
G.
bumper
Kiss
TV
my
show guy.
bumper. Just
Kiss my
kiss it.
bumper.
You know.
Just kiss him. Howard G. We know you the legend, man. You
You've
don't have to
already
say
been a
anything.
guest
We
before.
appreciate you. We
You
appreciate you,
another one
Howard
of my
G.
shows.
He said
We
we're
ain't
talking
gonna
about
forget.
Maryland car insurance and so damn how what the f. And then brother Bobby, he said this is Robert Blunt, and he firmly believes that if you can't be the captain, then don't sink the ship.
That's
He
right.
said
that's
support
a
the
good
elected
one.
official,
I need
and
an
they will
applause.
support your
That's a good one.
cause.
That's
And yeah, that needs a
exactly
round of applause, man.
Yeah.
We're not doing that today, but we're going
Yeah.
we're going to
Snap
snap
it
it up because
That's
it's
good.
Yeah.
this poetic justice today. You know what I'm saying? But it's not a movie. This is real life.
I love that.
This is real life.
So I'm going to tell you, when I lost last time, I came in second, and I'm very big on feedback. So, we did some surveys of the post-campaign surveys, and some of the feedback we got was that people were intimidated because I seemed so passionate, but they didn't think that I could translate that passion into processes. And I said, well, you don't even know me, but okay, no worries. And I think the fear is because as a woman, women get like, we get emotional and all of these things. But I want to talk a little bit about some of the partnerships and how I've been conveying the message, right? So it is important to be able to look into your elected officials' plan. So if someone says, I'm going to bring inclusionary housing or affordable housing, how do they plan to do that?
Please get into that.
I don't ever acknowledge myself as the smartest in the room. How I've learned through life is how to make good partnerships with people and how to have the smartest people on my team. And so what I've been doing is learning from what's happening in Park Heights. Park Heights has the Park Heights development. It's for housing. They have a number of different housing organizations, right? The CDC. We have a CDC, Drew Heights. I've been meeting with these people, copping CDC, meeting with them and saying, what is, you hear about, what is that, ARCA money, or is it ARPA money? What is it? ARCA, what is it? ARPA money. It's ARPA, right? ARPA. It's ARPA money. Thank you, babe. ARPA money. Well, money came into the city that was supposed to be then
That's it.
funneled out and gone into specific initiatives for housing.
Right.
That
That
money never
never
happened.
right.
So what I'm saying is, I don't need to know the acronym. I need to know how the system works, and I need to be able to see where I can place my neighbors. If I go on to, let's say Appleton, and I say 11 of you all are renting, we have this program. These are the 10 steps to follow. And if you follow these 10 steps, in 2 years, you can own a house. That is something that the average everyday person can understand. Because I don't care about being a theologian, I care about like really sounding like the people I serve. I try my best to take these big concepts and bring them to like common sense. So there are programs like Go Northwest, Live Baltimore. There's all of these programs out here that the average everyday person doesn't know about. As the councilwoman, I'm going to bring the programs to the people.
That's it.
That's common sense.
That's where I get upset at these community centers and these other ones at
Right.
because they sit there and they say, "Well, we got these programs,
Right.
and people don't show up because you don't
Go
get
get
them."
them.
That's
Right.
why. And when I go to the community centers, when I was getting involved, I'm
Right.
like, "Where are the people? Especially where are the black brothers?"
Exactly.
And I get really upset with that. You see the
Right.
difference. That's why I bring you in because you getting involved.
Yeah.
Even when you on Facebook, you get involved. You get involved.
Yep.
You get
Yep.
involved.
Yep.
That's how because you
Yes.
have to go into the
You have
community.
to, and you have to be a person of your word. And I'm going to tell you what happened the other night, last Sunday, 2 Sundays ago. The power went out in Hanlon.
Right.
It
Other
impacted.
situation.
It
Yeah,
impacted
talk
about
about that one.
500 houses. I have a very small baby. She just turned one. A 16.
Congratulations.
Thank you. A 16, almost 16-year-old. He's at City at ninth grade. So it's a Sunday night. So that means everybody's
Years
trying to get
flew
ready.
by.
Child. So everybody is trying to get ready for bed. You're trying to get ready for work in the morning. And then the power goes out, calling BGE. And then my first thought doesn't go, what does Tori need? It goes, what does my neighbors need? And so we pull up a generator and I'm knocking on everybody's door. Hey, it's Tori from Piedmont. Hey, it's Tori from Piedmont. Do you have lights? Obviously, no. Okay, do you have medicine that needs to go into ice? I got ice. I got coolers. You have, just tell me what's going on in your house. So I'm knocking on all of these doors with my baby on my hip. And I said, Tori, you're gonna be doing this for 2 weeks, right? This can't be the common sense solution. Does it make sense? So then I go to Facebook and I say, hey y'all, we're in this situation. This is where people power is so important. And this is why having an elected official that understands relationships is most important. I need help. Y'all tag BGE. Y'all send me the right people. Let's get it done. This BGE truck drives up Hilton. I run in the street, stop him. He said, unfortunately, your power will be out until tomorrow. I said, we can't do that. We have at least 4 seniors. One is on dialysis, is self-administered. One is on oxygen. We need this back on tonight. I get on the phone. I talk to Nick Mosby, and it's not an endorsement. I'm just telling y'all what happened. And Sheila Dixon. Between me, Nick, and Sheila, we get the power back on at 11:30 that night when BGE had told us it would be tomorrow afternoon, Monday afternoon. When you are connected to purpose and you care about people, you figure out how to get the work done. And you get
Absolutely.
it done right the first time. And so I just
Right.
wanted to give that as a
And watch
And that
this.
acknowledgement.
deserves some snaps
And that's
too.
a snap.
Yep.
Now watch this. Now, if they work like that all the time, it will be wonderful.
We'd be in a
Do you
better
see?
place. Yeah, we'd be
See,
in a
we
better
know
place.
you work like that all the
Right.
time because you knew who to you knew to connect.
Right.
But you don't get them like that all the time because
Right.
if she was already elected and election time wouldn't have been, you wouldn't have gotten them that time of night. You know it.
But that I would have.
Yeah,
I'll tell you, there's certain people
But
I
the
call, they
reaction
answer.
wouldn't have happened like
Right.
that.
But I'm gonna tell you what I also did, and I found out later that my audio was messed up. I said somebody was praying that they didn't hear me. There was 21 other people I called who did not answer. I called all 21 of those people out, but then I also wrote them a letter that Tuesday and said, listen, I have been a faithful servant of this city. When I call, you answer because I only call when I need
There
something.
you go. There
If
you
don't
go.
you dare then ask me for help supporting your initiatives.
Mhm.
If 500 of my neighbors were in the dark and you couldn't even call me back to see what I wanted, and that was from the congressional level all the way down, because I don't need these people. I love them, but I don't need them. I'm self-sufficient. I'm self-financed. I'm good.
But because that's how running the city is, because things happen. Because life happens. This is how you gonna run in the city. But this is how these elected officials are.
Right.
Election time come, they all there.
Everywhere, kissing babies.
Yeah, you
Right.
right. That old famous.
Mhm.
But when it's time that election, those 3 years
Yeah.
in there,
Yeah. Can I also talk about that real quick? I know you got another
Yeah.
question, but
absolutely. No,
I
no,
want
no,
to just
no.
throw
That's all
It's
this
good.
out here
about
real
you
quick
today,
because
Tori. About
I
you.
ran three and a half, 4 years ago, and people will say, "Well, Tori, we didn't see you either." Well, first it was COVID. Second, you didn't live on my block, and third, nobody understands what happens to women in this city when we lose. I was blocked out, boxed out, harassed, death threats. My son had death threats. There were certain things that were happening to me
Tell us more about that. Tell
be,
us.
because when you have the ability to, I stood on Facebook, said I need 100 people to meet me at the corner of North and Pennsylvania because I just wanted to acknowledge it was 2 years from the day Candyman was killed, and we had 300 murders every year. I look up and it's 280 people on a Sunday in the middle of the football season. And I got to, I called out the police commissioner. I made it to CNN. They are so afraid of the power that we have as community people. So they're like, oh, she didn't win. We don't know how bad this is going to be. So let's attack her before she attacks us. I couldn't get a job. I couldn't hold down contracts. I have my own business. I couldn't get any contracts. And so what had to happen for me was I had to be strategic. And so I did shift out of the city, but I also wanted to go and see what other cities like ours were doing. And so I got an opportunity to work for the president. So I worked on the Biden Harris administration, did some HR initiatives for them, went to Texas. When I moved back simply because my son got accepted to the school he goes to. I didn't move back to run for office. Oh my God, the rumors. Oh, somebody pays her to come back to Baltimore and da 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 da. None of that. I moved back to West Baltimore because it's where I'm from. It's where I want to be. The community called me for 6 months straight. Presidents of communities, pastors, I mean, people who were supposed to be his friend. Please run. Please. This boy is tearing our community apart. And that is the reason that I'm doing this again. I just needed to clear that because I've heard so many rumors, and normally I don't care. People gonna say what they gonna say. But when it comes to my community, understand y'all, I'm not pimping the community. When you look at my campaign finance reports, you're gonna see my own name, thousands of dollars I didn't donate it to my own campaign.
Right.
You understand what I
That
mean?
is
And so
awesome.
I just needed to call that out because y'all be nice. And if you're gonna speak about it, speak the truth.
Talk to her nice and come with the truth.
Right, come
You
with
gotta
the
make
truth.
sure you
Stand
spit the
on
facts.
business.
Just be more for real, man. You gotta be more for real about what you say.
Yeah.
Like,
See her as
seriously.
a perfect candidate for Be
That's
More For
awesome.
Real.
I mean, we
Tori
love the
Rose.
fire. We absolutely
Tori
love the fire.
Rose.
I mean, there are people in the community as well. Even myself included. We came from an era where, we come from an era where people actually fear the government. But there's that old Thomas Jefferson quote where he said, when the government fears the people, there's tranquility. But when the people fear the government, there is there's tyranny for the government. When the government fears the people, there is peace. And
Right.
when the people fear the government,
there's tyranny.
There's tyranny.
That's
So
right.
we've come from that era, kind of sort of where there is tyranny.
Right.
And so and it's always like politicians, and we vote for them and what have you, and it seems like they're turning their back on you. So we know you said you haven't taken the money, and all the money that came from your campaign, most of it, a lot of it came from your own personal funds.
Those are facts.
But what are guarantees that you can guarantee people that you would never turn your back on them once being an elected official?
Got it. All right. So let's
Good
spit the facts. That's a
question.
wonderful question. So let's spit the facts. The facts of it is no one person can do it by themselves. And where I feel like most council people fail is they go and say, I'm going to do all the things. They overpromise, they underdeliver. And so what I've been creating over these last, honestly, 6 or 7 years are 14 ambassadors, right? So these ambassadors are going to work throughout the different communities within the 7th district. They're going to be like my captains, boots on the ground with the autonomy to be able to say yay or nay. Those people and me will have weekly meetings. So it's first and foremost, I'm not really a
You said
politician.
14, 2 at each. You 7
No.
broken up. You said 14.
14
altogether.
because we have 40 communities and we have about they are funny. I'm sorry, y'all, my ADHD. So if you look at our precinct map, we have about 10 to 11 precincts. So they're going to be 11, one in each precinct, and then 3 floaters.
Okay.
And so what happens is this. I don't know how everybody else has been doing it, but this is my plan. Run it like a business. Run it like a business. I'm going to have my ambassadors. Of course, we already have the community association presidents, and God bless them. We're going to make sure that every community association in the district is at the same level of competency. That doesn't make sense that some have the ability for you to donate in Zelle, while others you got to bring a $20 bill. We have associations who have agreed to mentor the other community associations so we can all be at one place. So that's first. That's the second thing. So ambassadors, community associations. Then we're bringing back civics. So there'll be civic Saturdays once a month, every single month. There will be civics put back in schools. There'll be career day with the councilwoman for the young people. There's going to be trade opportunities. Baby, y'all going to get tired of me. Like, go home. Don't you have a family? Don't somebody love you? But visibility is what you guys are going to get with me. And that's because you deserve it. You deserve someone that you can, again, look in her plan and say, she said year one, she would increase safety. She would bring a substation of police to Mondawmin. She would make sure that children in our community don't get shot and the perpetrator walk out the front door. That's first and foremost. Year two, her focus is on housing. It's on safe streets, and not safe streets, but safer streets. Literally. It is on cleaner streets and environmental issues. I have a 4-year plan that honestly, I'm going to get started, and anybody who comes behind me can pick up, and the plan can be sufficient for up to 20 years. I'm building the partnerships, I'm building the relationships, I'm putting those things in place. And the day that we are elected, and I say we because it's all of us, those names will be revealed. I don't want to reveal those names before I'm elected because I don't want them targeted. If for whatever reason the Lord changed his mind in 3 days, I don't want to release who those 14 people are, because I can guarantee you Mr. Torrance is going to be surprised when he sees a number of the people in his camp on that list.
Oh, wow.
And so I'm very excited about that.
Shots fired. It's all good.
It's the art of war.
It's be more for real, man.
It's the art of war. He's been waging war against my community.
I mean, we definitely appreciate you for having.
It has to be to get it done correctly.
Tara also commented, they said there doesn't appear to be any incentive to recruit or hire teachers from within the community.
And you know what, Tara, I would love to hear from you directly. Again, as a previous educator, I have some ideas, but my ideas are not written in stone. I think the first thing that we do need to do is increase the pay. And so when I left Baltimore City Schools, it has to happen. When I left Baltimore City Schools, I was being solicited by Montgomery County and Howard County, and they were offering $85,000 as a history and government teacher. If the other counties can do it, we receive CARES Act money. We've gotten all this extra COVID money. We have Kerwin. We have all of these different things. We have nonprofit organizations that will come in and that would subsidize teachers' education. So we need to do that. We also need to go back to the Teacher Next Door program, where teachers can live in the community they teach. Again, when we talk about like Go Northwest and Be More, Live Be More, and these community organizations to say, I got all this money, but nobody's coming in. Well, we will pipeline teachers, doctors, lawyers, the professionals into your program if you help them get a good house in the neighborhood. But then let's also say this. We can't put them at the corner of bang, bang, and shoot them up. So,
right.
You know what I mean? Because that's unfair. I don't want my teacher stressed out because she's been ducking all night. Right? Or because such and such notices such and such teacher, now she's knocking on the door ready to fight. No, we have to ensure that safety for our residents is also a key priority. And one of the things that I just helped the North Avenue Task Force initiate was a safety initiative with Ring cameras. And so y'all know, I'm not going to tell you where they at, but there are Ring cameras up and down North Avenue. Part of it was paid by the state. The other part was paid by the police department. And so that's how we're going to make sure that the people who need to see what's happening are seeing what's happening. Yeah, so we're gonna, and I don't mean police and black people to the point of criminalization. Stop. I heard somebody say that, but no.
It's some plans.
It's some plans.
Right, it's some plans.
Because I'm tired. I love a chicken box. I love a good chicken box.
Yeah, we love the chicken box.
But I cannot stand having to look over my shoulder and be like, yo, they still in my car.
By the way, is there a chicken box spot you recommend in your district?
Yes. All right, so I want to give a shout out to 1 and 1 because it's one of my favorites at Monroe and Baker.
Right.
I love 1 and 1.
That's why I
and
said.
Then I want to also talk about, is that KK's? I love KK's.
Another one.
That's your place.
That's another one.
KK's. And then Capitol
KK.
Lounge is not in my neighborhood, but I'm always at Capitol Lounge. So say, hey, Mr. Brown down there. They're my
Yes,
friends.
okay, right.
They're right outside of the district by like a
On
block.
the Ave.
On the Ave, but still on the Ave.
Yep.
But I just love good food, y'all. So next time we're gonna have to eat.
That's it.
Yeah.
We're going to have some for you
Yeah,
next time.
we gonna have
'cause I owe
some.
you.
Man, we're blessed to have you on the show as well.
We really did.
We
So-
really appreciate your presence. Brother Bobby, he said arts integrated learning has to be allowed to make strides with engaging with our students. Again, he says art integrated learning has allowed me, to make strides with engaging with our students.
And you know what? I love that comment. Thank you, Brother Bob, because I might have 15 ambassadors. It's important to keep people around you who don't think like you. I might seem creative. I'm very like left brain. I am so black and white. I'm a analytical person. I'm not a very artsy person. And so because
Your left brain logical,
very logical,
not really intuitive.
not at all. Well, I'm intuitive because I've had to grow with my head on the swivel.
Because you're a woman.
And I'm a woman. But to Bobby's point, Bobby would be the person in the cabinet saying, Tori, this month you didn't do this, or this as far as arts and integration. You didn't make sure that the kids had theater, they had money for this, whatever it is. And I would hold him accountable to help me stay accountable to that part of the plan.
Oh, absolutely.
That's what we need, because I'm one person. I can't think of everything. And sometimes we were in that forum and I'm listening to old boy and I'm like, you're lying because you think you're supposed to do it all. The reality is this: not everybody is going to be a council person, period.
Right.
Some people are better in community because you actually lose. Did you know this? You lose power when you get the seat.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, you lose power.
I can believe it because you become a servant to the people, right?
You become a servant to the people, so I can't bang off and go blah 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 blah. You know what? Here's $1,000. Go do it. I can't do that as a council person. So the people who have autonomy to work in their communities, we need them out in their communities. There's only a select few that can code switch from community to politics and back. And I feel like the Lord has called me to be one of those people. Oftentimes, it's just the people who are on the outside of community who get elected.
Yep, we love that. And Brother Bobby, he said, let's do a chicken box pop up.
Yes,
always,
I'm
man.
here. Salt,
So
pepper,
we running,
ketchup, hot sauce,
we running a
all
little
the
bit
time.
out of time.
Yes.
Let the people know where they can follow you and what you got going on.
right.
Shout out whoever you want to shout out. This is
Yes,
your time.
yes,
This is your time.
yes. So-
Take your time.
Yes, sir. So I just want to first and foremost thank the Lord because he's
Amen.
been so good to me. He's been good to my family. I would thank somebody else, but I think they over there know it now. They'll wake up and see it later. I've been weighing them out today, all day. Just, we gotta get here, gotta do this, gotta do this. To my campaign team, to all of the people, to my mentor and my godmother, Senator Barbara Robinson, thank you for entrusting me. Thank you for also giving me a heart. Helping me maintain my heart when I'm feeling low, I'm feeling down. Thank you for keeping the seniors on the forefront of my mind. Thank you for that. To Doc Cheatham, who from everything from skate parks to supermarkets to voters' rights. Oh, I do want to talk about that. So if you got a mail-in ballot and it did not have an envelope and it said specimen ballot on the front, and you sent that in or you dropped it off, that was a sample ballot. If you didn't actually have an envelope to put it in, sign and seal it, please go out to vote on Tuesday. There is, again, a massive issue with the state board and the local election board. Who would send out something and not clearly
Isn't that
mark it to say
crazy?
sample?
Isn't that crazy?
Call the NAACP. I have been on the phone with them for the last 4-5 days. Force them to be who they say they are. Okay, back to my acknowledgments. My mom, because my mother was so terrified for us to do this again because of the threats and I had a beautiful blue X3 in the beginning of last campaign, and I came out my house and I said, somebody moved my car. And I said, I'm not getting in there. That joint might blow up. And I was joking, but when my friends started it, it went kick, 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 kick. Someone had literally put a rod up under my car, and the engine of my car, $7,000 worth of work done to my BMW. And this is how I know I'm saved, because I didn't get locked up after that, because baby, had it been another time. So
if it had not been,
the targeting that happens to Black women in politics, y'all never hear about. And I'm not the only person. Felicia has stories of being pushed at the polls and tires being slashed. Others have had windows bust out. They try to antagonize and scare us off because they know women have a specific attention to detail. You're not going to sit in a meeting and say, "Oh yeah, we're going to give money to marijuana, but we got closed 26 schools." Whoa, whoa, whoa! How we slide that in? So anyway, shout out to all of the people who in District 7 who have cared, who have helped. If you are able to donate 4 hours of time, please come out. We have 23 polls that need to be covered this Tuesday, May 14th, from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. That's the first shift. 11 a.m. to 4 p.m., 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. Please don't be one of those people that are like, "Oh, it sounds good. Let's see if she win." Nah. Say, you know what? I'm gonna go out here and I'm gonna work and I'm gonna talk to people and I'm gonna help this girl win.
That's right.
Because
Take the initiative.
take the initiative. And then when you take the initiative, you can hold me accountable. I don't really want to hear from nobody who didn't vote. I don't want to hear from nobody who's like, "Well, you represent me anyway." Yeah, I do by default. So now you about to receive the blessings by default. Because when I'm in office, everybody's gonna get it. We coming up. We rising.
One more
We're
time.
restoring community. We're investing in our children. We're supporting our seniors. We're investing in education. We're getting heating issues and air issues and quality of life issues fixed. I want my little girl to be able to go into a store and not feel like, what is happening? She was so scared the other day because we got out the car at a store and it was like 8 guys just standing around. They were loud. They were making all this noise. My child shouldn't be scared in the city that she's being raised in. And where did we lose respect? I'm a woman. I'm carrying a baby. Move.
Right.
Now I got to be Aunt Tori. I said, what's this? Come on, And I don't want to have to do that to grown people.
They stand around. They saw you. They should easily
just move over.
They know better.
You don't even live in here.
They
so
know
then
better.
I get into it with the one boy. I said, "Okay, where you live?"
I
said, "Where you live?" He said, "Monument Street."
Better.
I said, "Then you need to get out my community. Go home because you're not walking around here." And so come out and help. I'm sorry, I'm going to do my plea, but I got angry about it.
That's wonderful.
Come out and help
then all 8 of you need to come out there and volunteer.
And don't forget about Uncle Wayne either, man. Uncle Wayne running for mayor of Baltimore City. Don't forget about my guy right here, man.
I'm going to give my Instagram. You give yours. Mine is elect_Tori_Rose on Instagram or Rose4BMore@gmail.com.
Say it one more time, a little bit slower for the people.
Elect, ELECT. Elect_Tori, TORI_Rose, ROSE. That's on Instagram. And my email is rose4BMore, spelled just like this, @gmail.com. Also, if you forget, just Google me. My son was like, "Oh, mommy, you're Googleable." Yeah, Google Tori Rose, Baltimore, and you'll find me.
Hey, that's awesome.
So how do we find you, Uncle Wayne?
Oh, well, we're going to have plenty more shows, but Uncle Wayne running
BMore4Real's finest. Uncle Wayne running for mayor of Baltimore City.
We're going to wear you out later on.
You already know.
This specialty is for Tori Rose because you got to get out and vote. You all. We do. We can't have no 4 more years of that bull crap.
Yep. And Bobby said, he said, "Love you, Tori." And he said, "Uncle Doc Cheatham, love you, man." Yeah. And then Tyra Logan said, "Great work, gentlemen. Much success to you, Tori." BMore Paul said, "Good show, my brothers. What up, Uncle Wayne?" OMG. Tyra said, "City forever." Oh, man. We appreciate you guys, man. Keep it locked with us. We got you covered. We got the District 7's finest.
That's right.
Candidate, Councilwoman elect right here. Councilwoman's finest.
We got Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. We'll know by Tuesday night, hopefully Wednesday morning. I'm trusting the Lord for greatness.
Hopefully we'll be there.
Yeah, we'll be there. So meet us at Douglas.
Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day, man.
I am Uncle Wayne.
I'm OMG Danny.
Rose.
Make sure y'all catch it.
BMore4Real. We'll see you next Wednesday, y'all.